The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I say it's time we focus on what really matters. The games. Who's with me?
Wait for it. Wait for it. Are you ready? Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of the PlayStation Experience podcast, Anticipation. Today, we are talking about the most anticipated games coming to a PlayStation console in 2019, or at least we hope coming to a PlayStation console in 2019. Once again, we are the PlayStation Experience podcast, the Ryan Day to PSVG Prime's Urban Meyer, and Play Some Video Games premier PlayStation podcast. It makes sense. Don't give me that look. And welcome, once again, to our most anticipated games list of 2019. I am your host, Seth, and this week I'm joined, as always, by Justin. Justin, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, Seth.
Thank you.
I gave you that weird look because I don't get that reference. I know who Urban Meyer is,
Okay.
but I don't know who Ryan Day is.
Ryan Day is the new Ohio State head coach.
Oh, okay.
Urban Meyer just retired.
He just retired. That's right. Okay.
What I'm saying is that we are taking over PSVG.
Oh, I'm 100% on board with that.
Okay, yeah. This is the notice to Donnie that we're coming for him. So, anyway, it's 2019. A week ago, we released our year-end of 2018 Game of the Year podcast. And I think it was pretty unanimous. The only game that everybody on the show had was Spider-Man. So congratulations to Spider-Man for being the PSXP Game of the Year. I'm sure that will go on their mantelpiece. The award that is not a physical award, actually. But so now we are all looking forward, fully looking forward to 2019. Maybe before we get into our list, briefly talk about what we've been playing. Mine's pretty simple. I haven't really played many games in about the past 3 weeks, between holidays, traveling, and some family stuff. And but I have played some games on my Switch that also happen to be on PlayStation platform. I've been playing This Is the Police, Lumines, and Horizon Chase Turbo. Have you played any of those games, Justin?
Nope, I have not. I've heard of Lumines. I've wanted to play that, but I've never played it.
So Lumines is I don't remember what the guy's name is, but from the creator of that Tetris Effect that just came out. And it's a block puzzle game. Not a ton like Tetris, but you try and match up. You have 4 blocks that drop down all at once, all together in a square, and they are 2 different colors. And you try and match up. If you get a square of the same colors, they disappear, and that's basically the point of the game. But it's pretty fun. I think there are 100 levels that you try and make it through, and I've gotten about a quarter of the way through. Haven't mastered it yet. This Is the Police is a management sim where you're a police chief, and in your city there's crime that goes on throughout the day, and you decide which of your staff to send out to each crime, how many, whether to send out the SWAT team, and so forth. And each staff member is you know which ones are the best at their job and which ones are the worst. And while that's going on, there's also a story where you are the police chief and you are currently being forced to resign by the mayor and there's a bunch of stuff going on. You have, I think, I forget how many days, maybe 180 days to amass enough money for you to retire comfortably. The mafia is involved.
What platform is this on?
I'm playing it on Switch, but I believe it's also on PS4.
Okay. Sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's the actual gameplay part. It looks kind of like a Sim City. It's top down. You see a map of the city, and then you're given a choice. What crimes to go out and investigate. Sometimes you get prank callers. Some kid who's mad at his mom for not letting him outside, or for not letting him play games, or whatever, or not letting him outside. You have to decide whether to cooperate with the mafia and accept their money. And it's really an interesting story-based game that isn't what I expected. So it was on sale on Switch over the holidays, so I jumped in. And then Horizon Chase Turbo is a racing game, kind of like, looks kind of like an Outrun type of game, but is really, I know Donnie has talked about it's the best racing game on Switch. Not the best racing game on PS4, but it is quite good, a very good arcade racing game. I loved it on the iPhone, and it's on sale, or was on sale on Switch recently, and so I jumped in on that too. What have you been playing over the holiday?
Mostly been playing Call of Duty. I hate to be that guy, but I just it's got it took to me, and yesterday I played Blackout for a very long time, and still haven't won a match yet, a solo match yet, but I've gotten top 4, top 5 several times now, and still nothing more infuriating than losing out in those final seconds of the match. So still playing that, and I still think it's great. So nothing's changed there. I did jump into Onrush for a little bit. Yeah, something about it was off to me. I didn't like it. I think maybe because it was so on tracks, it was almost like an on tracks racer where you can't really go that too far off the beaten path at all. And I don't know. I didn't like the physics of the cars, and just something felt off about it.
They're hard to turn. You can't.
Yeah.
And for the most part, the tracks are pretty straight.
Which is weird for a game where you're supposed to be crashing into each other. And I was like, well, if they would have put you on like some figure 8 tracks or gone crazy with like that kind of thought process, but instead it's just like a kind of a straightforward, windy path. And it looks good, and there's some jumps to hit and stuff like that. But yeah, just didn't really enjoy it that much, so I kind of bounced out of that pretty quick.
Yeah. Of course, Onrush was one of the free PS Plus games in December. For January, which you can go and download now, we've got Steep and Portal Knights are the 2 PS4 games. I think there's another game that's also on PS4 that's a Vita game, but Steep and Portal Knights are the 2 big games. Steep, of course, is a snowboarding game that I played on beta way back before it launched, and I'm looking forward to jumping into it again. And Portal Knights is kind of like a Minecraft with a little more story direction, and I'm looking forward to jumping into that also. So that is, I guess that's what we've been playing over break. Red Dead 2, which was on my Game of the Year list. Since we recorded our Game of the Year podcast in about a week before Christmas, I have not had a chance to actually jump back in. So it's been a month. And that's not because I don't want to. It's just because I just have not been around my PlayStation.
Have you been spoiled at all by any of the story beats? Have you been able to stay away from? Good.
Nope. Good. I have no clue. That is good. Like one of the podcasts I was listening to leading up to launch is Red Dead Radio, with Jared Petty.
Yeah.
I really like Jared Petty, and that helped me get pumped for the game. And I've been looking forward to hearing what they think about it, because I think that that's probably the most positive place on the internet about Red Dead 2.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I have not listened to an episode of theirs in like 3 months now. So
good. Yeah. I definitely, yeah. I would hate for that to be spoiled for you, so I'm glad that hasn't been. And it's not like it's been out for that long.
No,
You know,
it's going on 3 months.
yeah, I guess that's a little bit of time, but
So-
yeah, you'll get there, and yeah, I still have to finish the epilogue.
Okay.
So I have not technically finished the game, but I will one of these days. I've just been sucked into Call of Duty, so
Yeah. I know if it's like the first game, the first Red Dead, I loved the story, the main story, and John Marston's one of my favorite characters in a video game. And then the epilogue, not that it didn't ruin the game or anything, but I didn't care for the epilogue as much as the main story. I almost would have rather it just wrapped up with the main story. I didn't need to go out and avenge my father in Red Dead 1. Of course, I will find out what happens in Red Dead 2, hopefully sometime by March, is my hope. If I ever start playing games again on my PlayStation. All right. So 2019 is here, and the new games. While this week the PlayStation blog did not have their usual drop post, my guess is just because of the holiday. But the new games are going to start coming here in another week or two. And so we wanted to look forward to our most anticipated games of this year. Justin and I each compiled a top 10 list and then ordered them. We gave them points from our number 1 game gets 10 points from each of us, down to our number 10 game gets 1 point from each of us. And so we put them in order of points. We had a couple ties, and I just kind of put them in random order for the ties, but that doesn't really matter too much. So we have 15 games on our list, plus I have a couple of honorable mentions that I'll get to later. I wanted to start with number 15, and this one doesn't even have a name, but this is one of Justin's list. The next game from the Call of Duty IW team. Is that Infinity Ward?
No, it's not Infinity Ward. It's Infinity Warfare team.
Okay.
That's just how this upcoming year should be the same team that made Infinity Warfare.
Okay.
Which was the last really, really good single player campaign.
All right.
It was Infinite Warfare, World War II, and then this year has been the Black Ops team.
Yeah.
So it should be going back to them, and I don't think Call of Duty just got rid of single player mode. I think what happened with Black Ops 4 is that story just wasn't coming together, and the whole hype around Battle Royale came around. So they kind of, I feel like they made a conscious decision to be like, let's give up on this and focus on blackout mode.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling the Infinite Warfare team will come back with a single player mode again. And they had a really good story that it was all set in space. You kind of went from planet to planet, doing space warfare basically, and there was even space combat in it in the single player mode. So it was very cool, and I'm just very curious what they're going to do with the blackout mode. Like, is someone going to keep that going? Are they going to just rebrand it every year? You look at Fortnite and PUBG and stuff, and it's one game that just keeps going for years and years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Call of Duty is going to try to get away with releasing a new one every year or what they're going to do. So we shall see, I guess.
Is there with blackout mode right now? Is there just the one map? I know it's a big map, but
Yep.
Is it just one?
It's one map, and they updated it once so far. I think they're going to do what Fortnite does, where they just kind of change the map a little bit. So maybe a month ago, maybe a little more than that, or it was like a month after release, they all of a sudden a ship showed up basically, because there's a big section of the map that's all water, and you could go in the water, but there was nothing there before, and now there's a big giant ship, so you can drop there as well. So I think they'll do the same thing that Fortnite does and just change the map around, have some events, change the map.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Call of Duty is such a big game, and that mode is such a big mode, you could almost break it off. And I know they've kind of broken.
They broke off multiplayer and Blackout this year.
You can buy them separately.
Yeah, those two together or so you can pay for I don't know if I can. I think it's only on Steam maybe or on PC where you can pay $40 and get just the multiplayer modes, but you can add on the zombies mode if you want. So they're playing around with that, which I'm sure that was like an experiment.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of sense to me if they just put out Blackout mode by itself next year.
Yeah.
Like if they came out and said Infinite Warfare is here, multiplayer, zombies, single player, or separate product by Blackout mode all by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or make it free to play. I don't know if they'll do that or not, but
and if you buy the full Infinite Warfare 2 or whatever it's called, you get some extra skins or whatever the.
Yep. Because that is something that Call of Duty is doing now more than ever. They've always had like skins and stuff like that or unlocks in your guns, but they're leaning heavy into that. Like these characters, like they have silly skins and all kinds of crazy stuff. So they're definitely trying to do the Fortnite thing of just selling you skins.
Yeah. All right. The next game on our list is a game that has actually already been announced and that we know what's going on with it a little bit. And that this was on my list, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, the next game from Software, the team behind, of course, Dark Souls and Bloodborne. This game, for whatever reason, it always seems like games with similar themes tend to come out. This is a samurai game, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, coming out later, but Sekiro takes place in the late 16th century Sengoku period in Japan. The player takes control of a shinobi who was left for dead after his lord was kidnapped and his arms severed by a leading samurai of the Ashina clan. The shinobi awakens to find that his missing arm has been replaced with a prosthetic by a mysterious bushi who dubs him Sekiro, or the one-armed wolf. Armed with a katana and the prosthetic, he sets out to rescue his lord and get revenge. So it talks about the game features some stealth elements. The combat from the gameplay I've seen is super smooth, and reminds me. I love Bloodborne, and I'm not as big of a fan of Dark Souls. Part of that is the combat. The combat in Bloodborne is just a lot faster and more fluid, and this looks even more so.
Yeah. Looks very fast paced.
Yeah, and there's a grappling hook that you can use to zip around if you need to, and then has a similar, I think, a similar checkpoint system as like Bloodborne did, except I think it's a little bit more forgiving. It says, I'm on the Wikipedia right now, so I'm gonna hope that this is accurate. It says if the player character dies, they have the option of being revived on the spot under certain conditions instead of respawning at earlier checkpoints. Now, I don't know what those conditions are, but it is nice. I mean, that is one of the understandable frustrations to a Bloodborne is you can spend. I know with the opening of Bloodborne, before you get to kind of the first, even the first lamp that you can light and set a checkpoint for yourself, you can die quite a few times, and it just it can be frustrating for a lot of players, and to have to go through everything over and over again in such a big game. So I'm looking forward to Sekiro. Do you play From Software games? Or
I didn't get into Bloodborne, and Dark Souls never looked interesting to me. The only thing I'd be curious about this one, they keep making the combat. It seems like they're slowly making the combat more and more fast. They went from Dark Souls to Bloodborne and now this. I'd be curious if there's any stealth aspects to this game. I mean, it is like a samurai ninja game, basically.
Yeah.
And From Software, I'm pretty sure it's From Software, back in the day made Tenchu, which had a lot of stealth aspects to it. Or maybe they own the rights to Tenchu or something like that.
They own the rights to Tenchu now.
Yeah. So
and they might, I forget how it goes. They might have some history with the series, but they own the rights now, and
everyone thought this was going to be a Tenchu game.
Yeah.
And then it came out and it wasn't. So
there's some thought that maybe this was going to be a Tenchu game, and then whoever's publishing it might even be Activision. Just kind of decided, why resurrect Tenchu, and we can just have our own IP.
Yeah, I mean, how many people even know it? I mean, a lot of older gamers might know what Tenchu is, but younger players definitely don't. So, but it's a hero. I if it had some stealth aspects to it, I think I would be more in.
Yeah. Well, it does. And one gameplay section I watched there, you were up in a building and looking down over a courtyard, and there was a big enemy that was there, and you could kind of decide to go about it 3 ways. You could just jump down and start fighting, or you could sneak through this house and then come out and take the enemy by surprise, or you could kind of zip down from above and attack.
Okay, so maybe there. Yeah, so it sounds like it. Sounds like it is there a little bit.
Not going to be like Hitman or The Last of Us, or that either of those kind of stealth. I don't think, but moving on, game also that was only on one of our lists, on your list, Division 2. I played the first one, and I enjoyed it for single player, but then felt like I got to a point where I couldn't get any further on my own and just didn't play it with anybody. What has you hyped about the Division 2?
So the Division 1, I don't think I even finished all of the main story missions in the first one. But I really enjoyed what I did play. I like the style of it. I like it's more, I play Call of Duty for a reason. I like modern modern guns and stuff like that. So it's definitely just more my style. I kind of wish they did a little bit more story or something like that. It's hard to, I mean, it is kind of just a shooter. It's set in a post-apocalyptic New York, which is cool, really cool setting. Like I think they really nailed that setting. Like you actually fight in you fight in Madison Square Garden and stuff like that, and that's kind of cool. And so I am just kind of excited to see what they do. Division and the Destiny. I don't game online with like friends, and I don't do the whole I don't do raids or anything like that. So I will play this one by myself. So I'll be curious if it's welcoming to that. But the first one was I thought more so than Destiny, where I felt fine playing by myself, or it was very easy to match make and have some other random person help me out with a mission. So I hope this one's the same. And yeah, I like the style of it. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one hits. Especially
comes out I think within weeks of Anthem.
Yeah, I think it is a March game. And so now we're starting to get, we have a lot of these shared world shooter kind of games. So it'll be interesting to see what hits and what sticks around. Obviously Destiny has had some staying power. And I know Division, I played the Division at launch. I didn't play it later on after, it really started picking up steam after a while.
Yeah, I think they fixed a lot of things, which is unfortunate for people who jump in early. But a lot of these games, it happened with Destiny. It happened with both Destinies.
Yep.
So that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, so looks like it releases about 3 weeks after Anthem. So.
Okay. The next game on our list, this one is also just on my list, and it is Ghost of Tsushima, the next game from Sucker Punch, which of course does not have a confirmed 2019 release date. So this is a little bit of wishful thinking / Sony has to come out with some games this year, and I mean there are some games that are confirmed for 2019, but
yeah. I didn't put it on my list for that reason because I wasn't 100% sure. But I'm with you in that I'm anticipating this game quite a bit because it looks absolutely gorgeous. And But again, it looks like it's got a little bit of a slower combat. Maybe even closer to Dark Souls than Bloodborne. From what I remember watching that trailer, I mean, we only seen one gameplay trailer basically. But I remember it looked so good, and it looked like there was a lot of style to it, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, very stylistic. I love the at the end of that gameplay segment where the player character and the other character are doing a face-off, and it feels very, and it makes sense. The Western film genre plays off of old samurai. I mean, the Magnificent Seven is based off of a Japanese film, so there's a lot of influences there. And I have a documented appreciation for westerns.
Yep.
And so I that face off felt really great. The game world looks awesome with Sucker Punch. So this game and Sekiro are both sort of samurai games where your protagonist has a sword, and it looks like it's pretty combat heavy. But I almost expect Tsushima to be a lot more story focused, and Sekiro to be more exploration and combat focused. I don't know if that'll be true when the games actually come out, but I am looking forward to. I like the feudal Japan time period, and really like Sucker Punch's game. So hoping that one comes out this year. The next game on our list, number 11, is Metro Exodus. This was just on your list. I've not played the first two Metro games, even though I have them.
Okay.
Have you played them?
I didn't play the first one.
Okay.
That one was a little bit harder to get a hold of, I think, or it wasn't as popular at the time. But I played the second one. I didn't play all of it. I came into it pretty late, but I played enough to know what it was. It's got really good shooting mechanics and everything like that. It feels really good. The world was really cool. It just got a little bit too. The world was very brown and drab, which is it's basically your post-nuclear warfare Russia, basically.
Yeah.
But this one, you're on a train traveling from location to location. They're saying it's a lot more open, and which makes me a lot more excited for it. It's always has always had this really cool mechanic of replacing filters and stuff like that on your mask and cleaning your mask. I kind of try to immerse you in the world, and I'm excited. It's should be a really good story shooter, basically a shooter story. So that's kind of why I'm excited for it.
Yeah, the premise of those games is really interesting. I just the first two games. The reason why I've never jumped into them is I mean, obviously it's a dark premise. It's post-apocalyptic, and I feel like those games are very claustrophobic, and you're in.
They are very
in a sewer or something underground.
Yeah, the second one was the first several hours is all sewers basically, and it's almost got a horror aspect to it, but this one should be opening up quite a bit more. And I'm also hoping that means that there's more variety in the areas that you're in. That's not just all brown wasteland.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our top 10. This is the first game that both of us had on our list. I had at number 10, and you had, I think, at number 6, and number 7. And that is Biomutant, an upcoming game from THQ Nordic, where you are, I think you can choose, but in the promo work, it's like this raccoon thing with an eye patch. But I think you can decide which kind of animal you are. Or maybe it is just always a raccoon.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I know you can change so much about yourself. I think you are like a raccoon-like character. Like I think you're like a furry little creature.
You're a furry. That's a different kind of game.
Yeah, that's a different. No, I didn't finish that sentence quick enough. Otherwise, we'd be playing a much different rated R or more game. So.
That'd be more of a Josh game, I think.
Yeah. Yes. good old Bonesaw. Yeah, I'm just excited. It looks really cool. The combat looks it's got like a martial arts style combat. But also combined with shooting, which is I didn't expect that. Like it's kind of got both. And I think you can kind of choose which path you want to take. Do you want to focus on hand-to-hand combat, or do you want to focus on weapons and getting new weapons, stuff like that? And it just looks really cool. It's got a lot of style to it. It's got like a comic book style almost. I know they were showing off like when you are in hand-to-hand combat, like there's almost like the comic book. I don't even know what those are called. Like when it says, pew, like when it says like slash, bump, whatever. Like the words will display out as you're hitting someone. So I'm sure there's a name for those, but it looks cool to me. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it looks interesting. There's not a ton known about it. I guess it has branching storylines, and there's different ways that you impact the world. It looks like something. It's an open world game, but it looks like something different from some other open world games. Number 9 on our list is actually the most imminent game coming out. That is Kingdom Hearts 3, which comes out here in just a couple weeks. So you want to get your Disneyland fix.
Disneyland fixed.
Your Disneyland fix, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's exactly. It's. I remember playing the first one when I was younger. Liked it. Wasn't like. I'm not obsessed with Kingdom Hearts like a lot of fans are.
Yeah.
I didn't even play the second one, I don't think. So, or maybe I played it for a short while and never finished it.
But did you play the Dreamfall chapters? Did you play 2.8? Did you?
No, I did not play any of the other 8.
Triple D.
No. Dream Drop. I think Dream Drop Distance. I don't know. A lot of those are on PS4 now through like these anthology games, but no, I'm just excited for it. It's finally coming out. At the end of the day, it's a role-playing game with Disney characters, which with like Final Fantasy mechanics, which newer Final Fantasy, I guess, because it is real-time action. But so I'm excited for it. That's really it. I'm not expecting too much out of the story though.
It sounds like you might be lost at the beginning, but it probably doesn't really matter.
That's what I'm kind of thinking.
Yeah. The next game on our list, this game, another game that both of us actually had on our list, and that is Anthem, which comes out the end of February 22nd. This is the next game from BioWare. This is actually the only game so far this year that I have pre-ordered, that I'm actually 100% getting. For me, it's wholly based on I really like Destiny and I like space shooter things, and I still like BioWare and want to give them another shot after Andromeda, and this is kind of their next shot. So for me, I'm curious with how it will do, what legs it'll have, and this really might be it. If this one bombs, I might be out on BioWare until they announce something else I'm interested in, whatever.
Yep. But, I know you wouldn't be the only one either, for sure. This is definitely their kind of big shot. A lot of people were burned by Andromeda. A lot of people miss the old BioWare, so I think that's kind of what. And this doesn't look anything like the old BioWare games. And it is, it's a shared world shooter. So for me, I'm anticipating it out of just curiosity, really, at this point. So I want to see what it is. I like I said with Division, like I tend to not group up with a lot of people when I'm playing those kind of games. So I'll be curious. I'll be the person to talk about whether or not I can play this single player or not, which they have said time and time again that you can definitely play it by yourself. But I think recently it kind of came out that it might be kind of hard if you're playing by yourself, which is, but if they have a good matchmaking system, then I don't really care. I'll play with other characters, because generally gamers want to just get through the story together. So yeah, we will see.
Yeah, there is an open beta that they announced for February 1st through the 3rd. which again I think should be open to everybody. And I'm hoping that I have a chance to try it out then. So I know with the first Destiny game, that open beta or the open alpha that they did pretty early on is what sold me on the game. So I'm hoping this one that I get to play it, and I'll either be sold on the game or I'll be sold on not getting the game. I don't know. Either way is fine. The next game on our list is only on mine, and that's Shovel Knight House of Cards, which of course is just a DLC for Shovel Knight. This is the final part of the Shovel Knight game, and it is I don't know. It's not House of Cards because that's the Netflix show, King of Cards.
I was gonna say because I knew it had a king in it.
Yeah,
that's what I was confused about.
Not House of Cards, King of Cards. And you play as King Knight, who is a fun character. I believe the first boss, one of the first bosses in Shovel Knight that you fight. And I've just really I haven't played Shovel Knight in a while. King of Cards, and I've been looking forward to this King of Cards release for a long time, and it's more Shovel Knight, and I'm always down for more Shovel Knight. Keeping with the 2D side-scrolling action, Spelunky 2 is supposed to come out this year. This is the follow-up to the roguelike Spelunky from a few years ago. I think came out on the PS3 generation in Vita. And in Spelunky, you kind of look like an Indiana Jones type explorer, and it's side-scrolling levels, and it's a roguelike, so you start at the beginning every time, and the levels are randomized, with some rules, of course, and it's a really tough action platformer kind of game, and really, the first Spelunky helped me discover the roguelike genre, and I still think Spelunky 1 and Rogue Legacy are still my two favorite roguelike games.
Yeah, which are both pretty early on.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this one is better, or just builds upon
at least the same, or at least the same quality and style, but maybe just new mechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind seeing, what I really liked about Rogue Legacy and some other like Dead Cells, is that they carry forward some stuff.
Some progression. Yeah.
There's some progression, where Spelunky 1, you started over every time. Now your progression was you learned how each environment changed and the different enemies and so forth. But I actually had this one as my second most anticipated game of the year, just because I really do. I love the first game so much. Anyway, getting to our top 5. This is a game that you had on your list at number 2, and I do not have on my list because I don't think it's coming out this year.
Because you don't believe that The Last of Us 2 is coming out.
Yeah. I don't think The Last of Us 2 is coming out this year, but maybe it will. And also, The Last of Us 1 is a game that I really liked, and I'm glad that I played, and I get it. I love Naughty Dog. But it's a game that I played once and that I've never played again, and I don't know that I'm in a hurry to spend more time in the zombie-infested apocalypse. I know that's not zombies, but anyway, why is this on your list?
So I mean, I didn't love the gameplay of the first Last of Us, but the story was so great that it really stuck with me. And I just love the way Naughty Dog games play. Like I almost like the way the characters move and the action, because it's very similar to Uncharted. They're definitely using the same engine, and I just like the way the gameplay feels. I don't love the stealth stuff of it, and I'm not huge on zombie apocalypse stuff either. These aren't zombies, but clickers, but which is definitely, that was at least a little bit refreshing. It's a totally different take than other zombies, at least. Even the one game that's absent from both of our lists. What's the game that's coming out?
Days Gone.
Yeah, Days Gone. I mean, they're calling them
Freakers.
Freakers, yeah, but they look like just straight up zombies.
Yeah.
At least The Last of Us came up with a new idea, basically that is plant-based spore basically went out into the world and took over humans, which is just it's very interesting. So I'm just excited for the story. That's the biggest thing for me. They're saying they've only said 2019. That's the only thing that they've never given. So if it is coming this year, it'll be very end of the year, which that also means it'll very likely get pushed until 2020, which is fine. I'd rather they just take their time on it. And the online the online multiplayer was very good for The Last of Us, actually. So it was kind of a very unique multiplayer. So
yeah, it was. That is one. I don't play a ton of online multiplayer, but I did jump into that for a bit. And again, I understand the first game was great, had a great story. But again, just not something that I'm in a hurry to jump back into. The number 4 game on our list is also, I think, a little bit of wishful thinking. In terms of PS4 release, it should come out on PC this year at least.
Yep.
But In the Valley of Gods, which is the next game from Campo Santo, after Firewatch, yeah. And I like quote unquote walking simulators, and I loved Firewatch. I think it had a great story and a good visual style. And In the Valley of Gods, there are 2 explorers exploring ancient Egypt. Well, exploring Egypt. I'm not sure of the time period actually of when the game takes place, but
yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't think it's modern, but I think it's like 70s or 80s or something like that, maybe. So because it looks like they're wearing modern clothes, at least it looked like.
Yeah.
But Firewatch was really great. I love that story. I don't love walking simulators, but Firewatch was the one that just got me. I think because of the way it looked, the art style was really cool. It gave you enough exploring to keep it, to make it just above a walking simulator for me, I guess. You did have to like collect things here and there, and overall I found the story very enticing, and it actually was kind of, it had a really mature story.
Yeah.
Which I really liked it, but mature in like a emotional way, not like, not in a graphic way, I would say.
Right. Yeah.
So, which I really appreciated that. And I know Campo Santo was bought by Valve.
Yes, which is the one thing that has me questioning a little bit whether it'll come to console. I'm hoping
it'll certainly come to PC first. But hopefully, I mean, they brought Valve's release games on PlayStation and Xbox. So I would, and they like money more than anything else. So I would assume it'd be like maybe a PC for a month or so, and then hopefully released on other consoles. So hopefully it looks really, really great. So
yeah. I still haven't been able to figure out in a quick search what the time period is, but yeah, it doesn't look quite like modern day. But it's the protagonists are black, 2 black women maybe. I know one of the main ones is black. 1920s. Single player first person video game set in the Egypt in the 1920s. You play as an explorer and filmmaker who, along with your old partner, has traveled to the middle of the desert in the hopes of making a seemingly impossible discovery and an incredible film. It's really, I mean, we don't know that much about it, except it's the team it's coming from and the location. So I'm looking forward to it and hoping that it comes to console. Now we are in our top 3, and each of the remaining games we both had on our lists. Not necessarily particularly high on our lists, but they're on both our lists. And the number 3 game here is Control, the next game from Remedy, I believe.
Remedy, yep.
Who I don't think has ever been on. Well, I don't know if I can say they've never been on a PlayStation console, but I'm not sure that
No,
they have.
they actually started out on PlayStation
Okay.
consoles with Max Payne and Alan Wake, which were exclusives.
No, Alan Wake was not was on Xbox.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was exclusive, or maybe it came out to PlayStation first. I don't. Either way, they've definitely been on PlayStation. But then they went with an exclusive for Xbox with Quantum Break, which I did not play.
Yeah, Alan Wake was Xbox.
Well, it was okay. Maybe I'm thinking of that because I came from Xbox originally, so maybe I was just getting it all mixed up. But yeah, all right. Well, but Quantum Break always looked really cool to me. That's if I got an Xbox, that'd be the one game I'd probably want to play.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. They did a really weird. I don't know how to describe the TV aspect of Quantum Break.
Yeah, it was like that you'd play the game and then there was a 30-minute TV episode, or maybe
which kind of makes sense because if you ever played Alan Wake, they did a lot of production on like radio shows and TV shows that you could find in the world of Alan Wake.
Mm-hmm.
You just had to go look for them. I'm just excited. I liked Alan Wake. I did play it on, I guess, Xbox. And Quantum Break looked cool to me, and this just looks really cool. Control does. Kind of reminds me of there's some kind of supernatural stuff going on in Control. I think the story is that you're in a federal building that's like doing experiments, and there's all kinds of science fiction-y stuff going on.
Yeah. You're in a skyscraper in Manhattan that is the headquarters of the Federal Bureau of Control, a secretive government organization that deals with unexplained or supernatural phenomena. And I'm not, sure how the gameplay works, but you have looks like maybe a telekinesis kind of power, and the gameplay looks really interesting.
Very promising, yeah. It reminds you a lot of Psyops. I don't know if you remember that. It came out on PS2. And that was the one where you kind of very similar. You basically you were like a cop or federal agent or something like that. Were given the powers, and like you had telekinesis where you could like move items around the map and stuff like with your hands. You end up getting like pyrokinesis or whatever, so you could shoot flames out and a bunch of other stuff. And then it was almost like a Metroidvania at that point because like you'd get a new power and then you had to go back to old parts of the map and use those powers to do something. So I don't know if this will do something. I would imagine it'll do something similar because it just makes sense. But either way, it looks really, really great.
Yeah, it looks definitely interesting, and is a neat for a PlayStation gamer to see Remedy on a PlayStation console again. Yeah. I guess. The number 2 game on our list, which actually this was tied with Control for our total points, but is Dreams, which appeared on both of our lists. And currently, I signed up for the beta, which I haven't found out whether I got in or I don't know how that works, but I'm hoping to get into the beta that's going on right now and just see if it is actually something for me. I'm really intrigued by the game, by the creation aspects. I don't see myself actually creating a whole lot, but I'm intrigued by what other people are creating, and really, it can really be kind of an endless game, just a platform for game making, and I'm just hoping. I'm hoping it actually comes out this year. It should, if we're in this beta stage right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking forward to playing what other people create.
Yeah.
Now you're more interested in the creation part.
I want to try to create something at the very least. I think I kind of want to, maybe just something small. I just think it'll be fun. It's kind of like I've always liked building stuff. Like I've spent hours and hours in Minecraft just building stuff.
Okay.
It doesn't look great or do any, I'm not going extreme with it or anything, but I just find it fun. And I'm hoping to do the same thing here. And then, there's the aspect of, well, what are other people going to build? Now, I've seen lots of interviews and gameplay footage of what their internal team is building, like the kind of games that and it really seems insane. I don't know how else to say it. It doesn't. They're basically, it seems like they're selling us a game engine.
Yep.
It's almost like RPG Maker from back in the day, where it's like they're selling you just all the tools, and you can kind of make your own game. So I think you'll get, side-scrolling shooters and multiplayer games and all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm sure a lot of cool single-player stuff. I would say I'm sure that the tools aren't as easy to use as if you were to learn the tool set of a real game engine.
Yeah.
But because you're using a controller or the Move controllers, and I'm sure there's a little bit, but it's all kind of pre-baked in, and it's only $60. And well, I guess we don't know that yet. We have no idea what the price is going to be.
Yeah.
So, it's just pure curiosity at this point. I want to see what it is. It's been in development for a very long time, so I kind of want to see that come out and see what everyone else has to offer.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. One thing with the building aspect or the creating aspect is you don't have to. You can create your own full game from the ground up and do characters and music and everything. But if you just want to try out making a tree or something, you can make this tree that could then be used in anyone else's games. You can make a character that can be used in anyone else's games, or a piece of music. So it's not something even that you have to do. It's all your own creation. It's it'll be interesting to see people collaborate.
Yeah.
And even that's something that you can practice on, or that I might jump in and just try and do something and see if a piece of music can.
Well, exactly. I mean,
go somewhere.
I was thinking about this the other day. Every once in a while you hear about someone who makes like what's that farming that 2D farming game that came out a couple years ago?
Stardew Valley?
Yeah. So like that was one guy who made all of the music, all of the art, everything for that game, which seems insane to me. Because like, what are the chances that you're a good artist and a good musician, or that you're able to even compose music?
Yep.
So I think it's really interesting that this way, you could, maybe you're good at art, so you do that part of it, but then you take music from someone else. And the game is set up so that it just automatically attributes credits to that person who made it. So, because it's all just baked in there versus, people probably do that kind of stuff all the time online, but they're just stealing or, going over some copyright infringement. So, we'll see. It's definitely going to be just fun to play around in there for a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward. I'm hoping the public beta portion launches. Actually, as this goes out, this episode goes out, it will have launched yesterday. So I'm hoping that I find out whether I'm in it or not, and that I can get the game downloaded and start messing around with it. And that brings us to our number one game. This is the game that we both had as our number one most anticipated game. And actually, while other than Anthem, which I've already pre-ordered, The Outer Worlds is the only other game that I absolutely day one am going to be getting, unless something crazy changes with it. But it's from the original creators of Fallout and Fallout New Vegas, and it's kind of like Fallout in space. And there are a couple. I think there's 2 planets. It's not a bunch of planets, but it reminds me of what a Firefly game could be. It's like a ragtag group of explorers exploring kind of a frontier planet, and I'm excited for it. I'm hoping it comes out this year. What I know, we've talked about it on a couple of our previous shows. Why does The Outer Worlds top your list?
I'm a huge fan of Fallout. Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 I still liked. But this looks like a much more refined Fallout set in space. there's something wrong with the engine that Bethesda's been using. It creates all these bugs all the time, and it doesn't look that great. And yes, we've only seen one. We've seen gameplay footage, like from multiple outlets, I think, at this point for the Outer Worlds. So it's not like it's just one trailer.
They released right during the Game Awards, or right after they released a bunch of gameplay. I think it was similar area.
Yeah,
but a lot of different places got to play it.
Yeah, but you can still see that it looks really great. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is like the humor side of it. I don't typically like humor in my video games. Probably because I don't think it's ever. I don't ever laugh. It's just like a bunch of dumb jokes usually. Sometimes it can be fun, but like not funny, if that makes sense. So, and maybe this will have that because you are a silent protagonist, which, because like I want to say there's like much like Fallout and other games, you get dialogue options, and one of the dialogue options that they've really been showcasing is that you can play dumb.
Okay.
Which is kind of like a funny idea, but like I don't know if it's not gonna make me laugh. Like I hope they don't get too, it's almost like bordering potty humor at that point. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but the gameplay and everything else around it looks really great. So that's same thing for me. It'll be a day one purchase, one of few this year. And they would have to show me something kind of outlandish to like make me change my mind at this point.
It and I think part of the reason why it tops our list, I mean, it's the team that it comes from, the premise of being in space and Fallout. Also, a little bit, we know it's mysterious because we really don't know a ton about it, but yet we've also seen a lot of gameplay from it that looks really good. Where some other games, like Ghost of Tsushima, it was revealed. It was revealed once, and then you had a gameplay, like 8 minutes of gameplay or something, and that's all we know about it. Where there's another game I have on my honorable mentions called Journey to the Savage Planet, which is you're on a journey to a savage planet. But it reminds me a little bit of the Outer Worlds in some. It's humorous, and you're going and you're exploring a planet in outer space, but really all that's known about it right now is a 1.5-minute trailer. So it's a little bit too. I just don't know. I don't know enough about that game to have it on an actual anticipation list. But the Outer Worlds we know enough about it, but it's also still pretty mysterious. So I had a couple other honorable mention games. Journey to the Savage Planet, again, because I don't know. There's a short teaser trailer out there, but just not a whole lot else. But the premise, again, space exploration, interests me. Other honorable mentions for me: Dirt Rally 2.0. I really, over the last year, have started liking racing games and really like the Dirt series. And especially I like Rally, and I especially like Rally Cross quite a bit. I think it's a fun alternative to like a Gran Turismo racing, where it's still sim racing, but in Rallycross you are almost kind of encouraged to bump against other people, and the racing is generally pretty close, and there's some good strategy with Joker laps and things like that. And Dirt Rally 2.0 looks great. It comes out at the same time, the same week as Anthem. So I'm not going to be jumping into that at launch, but I'm looking forward to it. Also looking forward to F1 2019, which of course I've played 2017 and 2018. But the cars in 2019, the real Formula One cars, are getting some pretty big aerodynamic changes. So it'll be interesting to see that in the game world. And also, like, half the Formula One field has changed between retirements and new people in different spots. And so it's always it's the same thing with any other sports game. It's neat to see people in new teams. And then I also have either NBA 2K20 or NBA Live 20. 2018 is the first year, maybe since I started gaming, that I didn't play an NBA game, an NFL game, or an MLB game. I did play Super Mega Baseball 2 this last year, but of the major sports leagues, I played nothing, which is really unusual for me. So I think I'm going to look forward to one of the NBA games this year, but I don't know which one yet. So are there any other games? I guess we should mention Days Gone comes in April, which I am curious to see how that game does. Also, Death Stranding is out there and could potentially come this year. The only PlayStation exclusives I guess we know are coming would be The Show and Dreams. I feel like there's another one. There's The Show, Dreams. Oh, and Days Gone. Okay, duh.
Yeah. Last of Us 2. It is confirmed for 2019. You know, They've definitely said it's 2019, but we just I think after paying attention to games just slip. So I think we have our doubts. But it is confirmed for this year. I think we
can count on The Show, Dreams, and Days Gone, and one more, whether that's Last of Us, Death Stranding, or Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
There's also that game. Is it called Concrete
Jungle?
Concrete Jungle. It's like an indie-ish kind of game. No, that's what is it?
That's not. All right.
That's not it.
Not it.
Does it have anything to do with concrete?
Does it have anything to do with jungles?
I don't know. Genie?
I know. Concrete Genie? Is that
Concrete
it?
Genie. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Concrete Genie, Concrete Jungle. Developed by Pixel Opus and published by Sony. It's just a smaller indie-ish kind of game, which is supposed to be coming out this year. But so that's not a big game, but it is another exclusive game that should come out this year. But it'll be a pretty good year on the exclusive front, and should be a great year on the third-party front, especially for us if the Outer Worlds actually does drop. And with that, I think that is our anticipated games of 2019. We have our fingers crossed for the Outer Worlds. Also, our fingers crossed for Dreams, that it doesn't just. I think it'll be good. It'll be high quality. It's just, who knows how much it'll sell. Who knows how it's going to come out. If it'll be a PS Plus game. I also think with the PlayStation 5 somewhere on the horizon, whether it's later this year or most likely 2020, and Dreams being such a big game in scope, I think it'll have to be cross-generation, or PS5 really needs to be backwards compatible with PS4. So it'll be interesting. This year we'll also hopefully find out some more about PS5 and what's going on there. So
I think this will be a fun year for game news. Really good releases coming out this year, obviously, too, but the lead up to the next generation of video game consoles is always really fun. So it's, we like game news and stuff like that. So this will be a fun year for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, before we sign off, need to thank our PSVG Patreon supporters. These are our show producers, and want to thank this group of people for supporting our podcast network. Coach Hulk, Edwin Callow, Dev Tyus, Kevin Austin, Chris M., Kyle Hyman, Joel Voss, and Bonesaw. Thank you, each of you, for your support. And thanks to everybody who's listening. You can find us on Twitter at PSXP Podcast. You can also interact with us on the Discord. And thank you very much for listening. Justin, you have anything to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Well, have a great week, and never stop gaming.
And though we may pledge fanboy allegiances to different flags, deep down inside we all serve one master, one king. And his name is gaming. Forever may he reign!
This has been a production of the Play Some Video Games Podcast Network.